All right, so this is a really tough principal application question. A lot of different things to juggle. And within the principle, some of the sufficient conditions are a little bit hidden, I think. I think the first one in particular is, because we only have an if in line 3, but anyone is also a sufficient condition indicator. So we've got, if you have greater than one overdue book out on loan, must be fined if some of the overdue books are not children's books. So some overdue, not children's, and previously fined. So those are all three conditions that together are sufficient to tell us fine. Now, Kessler has 3 books currently out on loan that are overdue. So Kessler meets this criteria. What we're missing is we don't know if Kessler meets these other criteria as well. If we were to learn as new information that Kessler did not meet only the first criteria, but also the other 2, that would be sufficient to tell us that Kessler should be fined. So we're looking for a choice that tells us Kessler meets both of these conditions as well. So I'd be scanning to see a choice that tells us Kessler has previously been fined and some of the overdue books are not children's books specifically. So looking at A, some of the books currently out on loan are not children's books, which actually doesn't really do anything for us here. And Kessler was fined last year for returning a children's book late. So A tells us Kessler was previously fined, but A actually does not tell us that there are not some of the overdue books are not children's books specifically. They're out on loan, but are they overdue? Very tempting. A is very tempting, but it's wrong for that reason. B, one of the overdue books currently out on loan is a novel for adults. So one of the overdue books is not a children's book. Check on that. We already have a check on this one from the stimulus. Then Kessler was previously fined last year. So we've met all 3. Therefore, we can conclude the application of this principle that Kessler should be fined. Any of the other choices aside from A seem tempting. People often choose A for this one, don't even bother reading the rest.
D got me for a second.
D?
But yeah, I'm lucky that when I did this test, I just stopped at B and moved.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's look at D then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that we don't know if there are non-children's books from D.
Well, so D tells us Kessler was previously fined. And we already know the first one, of course. But for the second criteria, Kessler was fined several times in the past for overdue books, but none of the overdue books they were fined for was a children's book. But what about currently?
Right.
Some of the overdue books now are not children's books. That, I think, was why it doesn't meet the second criteria.